Okay, so the design is this tutorial is basically for SketchUp geeks. It's the results for the non-geeks that are probably going to be interested in the results rather, and that is that the a drawing. But for the geeks in you, here's what we're going to do. We're basically what I'm going to do is start off with I use T. I'm going to go to 3/4. So I want to make it 3/4 wide. The length of the tenon can vary, but what I'm going to do is start off with a 3-inch, so 3, enter, and then I start over in the lower left-hand corner at the origin. I make a rectangle, and that would be, if I look in the lower corner, it says 3" by 3/4, which is great. I want to make a component out of that, and I want to call that tenon. Then I'm going to bring it up to 1/4 inch, so I'm going to do a push-pull, and that would be 1/4, enter. Now I'm going to get a better shot at it. Come up here, and probably going to, I have a scene already set up, just going to take it to that. I want to be right on top of it, so I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to update again. Now for these, what we're going to do, let's just go ahead and let's paint it metal looking right away, so it looks and feels like metal. Any one of those is good. I don't like I'm going to make a little more texture to it, so I am going to change that to 0. Let's go to a different metal. Just so it looks, I just wanted it to look a little more like metal. Here, this one here, that one gets pretty crazy, so let's go with that, and then I'll add that a little bit, drop it down to 14. Okay, close enough for horseshoes and hand grenades. Now then what I'm going to do is, we have all the center hole is always going to be at 1.5, and then for ease of everything, I'm going to go to a half in each direction, so 1/2, enter, another 1/2, enter. That's one way to do it. Otherwise it's easier to just sometimes just make the holes go past. So what I did is I did a 3/8 halfway that way. So all I'm going to do is just make a 17. I'm going to draw these. The drill bit is the drill bit is a 17/64, but I'm going to draw the hole. Basically the way it's going to end up with is once it's threaded. So for ease, so what I'm going to do is, I think I'll just keep it as 17/64. So C, get my cursor, I want to be on the surface, C, which is circle, and then I'm going to go out. I'm just going to type in 17/128, because it's always based on radius, and so 17/128 radius equals a 17/64 the diameter. So there we go. Now we have our hole, and then for ease of finding things later, for measuring and everything, and for showing dimensions, I'm going to go ahead and right in that hole, I'm going to do a L for line, and I'm going to make a crosshairs. Escape, and then go the other way. So now I have a crosshairs in the middle. So now I'm going to copy that. I'm going to basically, remember I'm still on this surface, right? So I'm going to select that from left to right, and then I'm going to hit the M for move, go right in the endpoint, control, and then I'm going to send it over there, which is a 1/2 inch, but I'm also going to type 4x, and then it automatically makes 4 copies rather than just the one. And then we now have that going on, and we have a crosshairs on each one, and then I'll make it look like something, so I'll punch a hole through it. Okay, there we go, boom boom, double click, double click, double click, double click. We now have our 5 holes, and there's our tenon. I can take a look at it from the top. Again, I just go up to scene, and then I wanted to mention this so I can show it to, because we're going to print it. So I'm going to leave I'm going to put lines at each one of those crosshairs. This will help dimension it. And so for dimensioning, I'm going to use the dimension key, or whatever you call it, right? And then we have 3/4, and then I'm going this way with it, and I'm going to go way up because I need that space in between there for some other things. And then Z, orbit, going to get myself down into a little better position. I'm going to put that towards the bottom more. Again, now I have my 3 inches up there, but The reason I did that is then I can also have space for my dimensions in here. And so I'll go with that. There. Now do it again. Do it again. Whoop, dropped him. Just keeping it look nice. So basically everything is at half inch increments. And what that does is it just makes it really easy to use a ruler, especially the Incra type rules and some other ones. You know, even just a regular conventional ruler would work. It's just a lot easier dealing with halves. Now when I get them made up, they're not at a half inch, they're actually at different increments. So, but this is, we're trying to keep this simple for everything. Then sometimes it's nice to have a dimension to the halfway point. So I'm going to go from here to here. Oops, meant that, put that up there. I think that'll be enough for our dimensioning. And then we can go ahead and show the dimensions for the hole itself. So I'm going to hit T and I'm going to come down to that point right there. And then I'm going to come up to this one. And then now I have a way to dimension it over on the side. And that is, it's quarter. It shouldn't show a quarter. Okay, so what I didn't like is it showed a quarter here, and it really shouldn't. It was rounding it, and I don't want it rounded. So what I did is I went up here to Window, Model Info, and then I went to Units, and I noticed that the display precision was set at 1/16. I don't normally ever do that. I always want it at 1/64, and so it's fractional at 1/64, which is good because now when we go over here we look and it automatically went right to 17/64, because I do want it to go down to 64ths of an inch. So now we have all of our dimensions in there. I don't think we need those dotted lines anymore, so edit, delete, guides. The guides are gone. Let's put ourselves up on the top of it again. Now I'm going to zoom in to where I think would be a good spot. And I'm going to put it in kind of in the lower left hand corner here. That way I have some room to move. I don't need that thing to be up quite so high. So I'm going to move that down a little bit. That'll give me some room to write up here. There we go. Okay. And then I want to make a text. So we can make a note here. All holes 17/64 inch bit. Then the center hole for all the projects that I've got going so far is only going to be the only one that needs threading. So I just want to represent threading on that. So I'm going to grab this rim right here, push it in. Oops, didn't mean to do that. I just have a bad angle on it. Let's try that again. I'm going to get a little better angle on it. Okay, so sometimes it's easier to steal a line from somewhere. So I'm hitting T, I'm going up over there and I'm stealing a line that'll be right through where I want it to be. Yep. Okay, now I should be able to grab that rim, M for move, make a copy of it on that plane, and it's on that line and it went 1/16 of an inch, and I'll accept that and I'll say 4x, which is 4 times. And so now it's going to start to look like it's threaded, and I'll paint that a different color. So let's just paint it materials, select, I'll paint it, I'll stay with metal, and then I'll paint that one as well. And so that way it gives it a little bit more of a representation that it's threaded. And then I'll go back up to scene and edit, delete guides. I'll get up here and we got our 3D thing going on, right? So I've got that going. I'll make that basically my new scene, and then I'll make a note here saying use 5/16 -18, that's thread type, thread tap to tap this hole only. And then I'm going to make a note that all other holes, optional. Drilling or drilled and or tapped. And the reason I'm going to do that is because there are a lot of times where you don't need the 5 holes. Sometimes you're going to want to have a hole here and a hole here and then the center hole, and then so you don't need to drill these 2 holes here, or vice versa. So I could, for instance, go like this, and if I say delete, then those holes would not be drilled. It would just be these here, right? Be like that. So that's another way to do it, but I'm going to those back. Control Z, Control Z. Now I've got my holes back. Again, I'm going to go up to Scene and push this down just a little bit. Grab that one, push that down a little bit. Zoom in a little closer. And then because this is going to be printed, I'm going to select some text. I'm going to go up to, I want that text to show up larger on a print. So I'm sorry, I meant to go to Windows Model Info and then text, and then I'm going to change that font to 14, bold, say OK, and it's going to select all leader text, and then I'm going to say update all text. I didn't mean leader text. I meant select all screen text, update all text. Okay, and select all text there. Update all text. So that way it's going to show up larger, and then I'll probably want to do the same thing on the dimensions to make those show up a little larger. Fonts, 14, bold, okay. I'm going to say select all dimensions, which you can see they just turned blue. Then update all selections, so now I have larger fonts. I can get rid of that. That's going to print a lot nicer. And then I'll do a, let's see here once. I'm going to do a view. I'm going to get rid of the axis so that that doesn't show up when I do the printing. And then I could go to File, Print right now, but I'm going to do a File, Save As, just so I can make sure I have a save version. Yes. And then I'm going to say File, Print. And I have to make sure I have this one turned off. Say OK. And it sent it to the printer. The other thing that I'm going to do is after, okay, so basically we're done now. We have our dimensions, everything, all the locations for all the holes. So we basically have a drawing. I could do a 3D version like that. So yeah, why don't we do that? I'll do both. When I do the printing, I have to orient that a little better. There we go. Okay, so now we have our 3D thing going on, and then what I'm going to do when I shut this down is I want to use a screen capture software, the same screen capture software that I'm using to do this video. I'm going to use the same software to do some capturing of for images and for PDF, and those work out. Those are the ones that I'm going to upload to instructables.com, and then that way people can print those and have them and so on. They're just a lot easier to work with than, of course, trying to work with SketchUp. So there we go. That's the end of the tutorial on the what do you want to call it? The design, I guess.